In today's episode, we're talking about dinner time. You know, the time when you're actually home and you sit around the table and you have a meal together. Today, we're going to help you make that a more enjoyable and meaningful time. One that helps you connect with your family and helps make it a time that everyone can look forward to. We're going to be sharing 3 ways to get your kids talking at dinner time.
This is Parents Making Time, the show that helps busy parents put family first without burning out.
We're Anthony and Jennifer Craker. We don't just give parenting tips, we help you become the parent you want to be.
So have you ever had one of those meal times with your family that just didn't go well? It didn't necessarily go badly, but it didn't go well. You're sitting around the table, nobody's really talking. You can kind of hear utensils clanking and you can hear people chewing their food. And, maybe somebody is looking at their phone occasionally. Maybe you're just kind of staring at each other as you eat. Then you finish the meal and that's it. We've certainly had experiences like that.
Yeah, definitely.
It feels like the purpose of coming together for a meal when that happens is kind of defeated. I mean, everybody could have just eaten on their own. What's the point of gathering together around a table as a family, right?
Yeah, and we know that families are busy and you're not going to be sitting around your table every single night. At least most families are not. But I think the mistake we make when we do is we expect conversation to just flow on its own. It shouldn't be hard. We're family. We love each other. We should want to talk to each other. It just should come natural. But even if we believe that and think that doesn't make that happen.
Yeah, and when dinner time doesn't go well, there are a lot of missed opportunities. First and foremost, you miss out on the opportunity to just connect with the people that you love the most. Chances are your family's really busy, and this is one of the few times where you can all get together, be together as a family. You also miss out on the opportunity to learn about your child, learn about how their day is going, learn about what problems they're having, what's going on in their mind, what homework assignments they have or tests that they have coming up or other things going on in their lives. And then you miss out on an opportunity to teach your child. We've had some of our most important conversations over dinner time where we've been able to talk about our values and talk about the world and things that we want to instill in our children. And so the consequence of not being intentional with your dinner time is pretty significant.
So today we're going to share 3 ways you can be more intentional with this time to engage with your kids in meaningful conversation at dinner time.
So the first way is asking specific open-ended questions that can't be answered with one word. Now, this takes a little bit of time and a little bit of practice, but it's worth it. We have a child who shall remain nameless, who is notorious for giving us one-word answers to questions.
Every question.
And it's usually the same word. And the answer the answer is good. How was your day? Good. How did your test go? Good.
Good.
How was work today? Good.
I literally had that happen this week with that child.
Yeah. And so you have to craft questions in a way that makes it really difficult for them to answer in that kind of one word format or even 2 or 3 word format. And you need to be specific. So asking how was your day, that is an open-ended question. But it's really easy for a kid, especially a teenager, or this one's a young adult now, but to just kind of not engage with the question. And so asking something like, tell me about the most difficult part of your math test today, or something like that. And maybe that's not the best example.
You could even say, what did you have for lunch today?
Right. That'll get a different answer, but then you have to learn to build on that and get them to
practice. It takes practice.
Learn how to have a conversation. And interestingly enough, this child that we're talking about is a talker. Once she gets to talking, she'll talk your head off, but you have to prompt her. You have to get her to engage. So when you're asking questions that aren't open-ended and that are not specific enough, it can be really difficult to get your kid to engage in a conversation with you. And so that's one way to try to get them to engage and talk to you during this important mealtime.
So the second thing is dinner games. And I'm not talking about card games or anything like that. I'm talking about conversational games. So you may have heard of one that's called Rosebud Thorn. Some people call it that, or just best and worst. And we've done it as, well, what's the best thing that's happened today? What's the worst thing that's happened? And then we go around the table and everybody shares. And so you kind of get a sense of how your child's day went by them sharing what they liked and what they didn't like. And the same for you. They'll learn that about you. Another one that we've done as a family is called Would You Rather? And I know you know what that is, but it's questions like, would you rather live under the sea or in space? And then you can have a conversation. Well, why would you want to live in space, or why would you want to live undersea? Like, that can lead to more conversation. It doesn't have to just be question after question. And then sometimes you might just have a jar at your table of conversation starters, just some simple ideas of topics or questions or even current events that you might have a good conversation around. And so somebody at the table picked a question out of the jar, and then everybody kind of chimes in, and you kind of build that conversation around those things. So you can make it fun. You can have a good time with it. You can be a little silly. It creates a relaxed environment where kids are starting to open up and feel comfortable and laugh with you.
And number 3 is sharing about yourself during the conversation. It's not enough to just expect your kids to respond to questions about how they're doing or how their day is going. If you want them to be engaged in the conversation, you also need to share and be a participant. And so something as simple as talking about how your day was at work, maybe something funny happened, or talking about something that you're looking forward to over the weekend, or sharing about something difficult that happened, but just being a part of the conversation yourself and not just trying to get your kids to talk. We've found a lot of times in our conversations as Jen or I have shared something about our day or our lives or something that we're working on or doing at a particular time in our lives, that opens up more conversation with our kids. Sometimes they'll ask us questions or they'll chime in. Also talking about things going on in the world, sharing your thoughts about whatever, the big news story is. That can prompt some really thoughtful, interesting conversations with your kids that will get them engaged. These are just a few tactics that you can implement to try to encourage conversation at dinner time, and we found them to be really helpful. It doesn't mean that every time that we've sat down for meals together as a family that it's worked out, but we certainly have had our share of quiet or silent dinners where people aren't really talking much. But if you're consistent with these things, you'll find that over time you will get your kids to talk a little bit, and sometimes even a lot at dinner.
Yeah, and one other thing I want to mention is you really do need to be careful and not have too many expectations. You can plan these things out. You can have a game plan. You can, be ready to share whatever it is that you want to share that day. You can ask specific open-ended questions, and you can still get blank stares and one-word answers, because some days us, we just don't want to converse as much as other days. So be careful about your expectations. Don't look at everything as a failure if you have one bad dinner. Be consistent. Keep trying. And as we've been consistent and kept trying these things, we've seen some fruits of those efforts. So we've mentioned before, we have 2 of our children outside of the house, and we've tried really hard when we do sit down at dinner together to have meaningful conversations, to create connections. And what I found interesting is there are times when our girls will call home and it's somewhat close to dinner, and we say, oh, well, we're going to have dinner now. And they say, well, we'll stay with you. And so they stay on FaceTime and they enjoy being a part of that dinner conversation even now, even though they're not actually in the room with us.
So in order to help you with your meal times and get your kids talking, we've created some dinner conversation starters that we'd love to share with you. To get that, just go to our website at parentsmakingtime.com/dinner conversations. Just put in your email and we'll send you the list of dinner conversation starters to help you make the most of those moments with your family.
So we're so grateful that you were here with us today. So if you got something out of today's episode, please leave a rating or review for us. And we'd be extra grateful if you shared this episode with a friend.
Now, next time we'll be talking about a huge mistake that parents make that sucks the joy out of parenting. You won't want to miss that one. Until next time, make time to become the parent you want to be.